I'm Katie Williamson, certified life fulfillment coach.
And I'm Lauren Evangelho, a seriously self-taught entrepreneur. And this is where we share real life, have real conversations as two very real women.
In this space, we're going to cut through the bullshit from society and in our own heads and peel back the layers of who we are, why we're here, and how you can do the same in your own life.
Let's get beyond the bull.
Sweet. So, with that being said, Lauren, what piece of bullshit have you been kicking around in your head lately?
How about New Year's resolutions?
Ooh, I like this topic, especially
Tis the season.
Yes, 'tis the season. We're getting towards the end of January, which I'm sure you know what that means.
People are probably starting to fall off the wagon a little bit.
Yes.
Of their New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
I
that
agree.
time.
So before we get into that, perhaps, how do you feel about New Year's resolutions?
I have mixed feelings on it. In my industry, in the meal prep world, I see a very regular trend. Every single January, business booms, and I get a ton of business from all the people wanting to lose weight and get healthier and get fit, and I think that's all awesome. But you know, I have my qualms about it too.
For sure.
But for the most part, you know, I think New Year's resolutions are a beautiful thing, and I think that it can lead to beautiful things in your life.
Yeah. So how about going into 2021? Are there any resolutions that you've set for yourself this year?
So not so much resolutions as much as intentions. I have a couple words playing around in my head that have come out very strongly for the new year that I feel like I really want to focus on. And one of them is self-care, not to be confused with self-love. I feel like I've got that part down pretty good. But the self-care part I need to really work on, and also consistency.
Nice.
So those are my New Year's intentions.
Yeah.
What I'm working on this year.
Well, and there's a few things about that I really love. I'm with you in choosing words for the year, which in the past I've been consistent with it, and there's been other years where I haven't. And this year is actually a mix of both. Like, I have a lot of goals that I set for different areas of my life, and I also chose 2 words for this year, which I guess intentions. That I have. And it's interesting to me because as I'm listening to you sharing, there was something that stood out to me that's also mirrored in my own. And that's that there's a mix in there of the doing and the being, like the consistency of doing, whatever it is you choose consistently, and the being of self-care, you know, that balance side of it, of taking care of yourself through the midst of that. So for me, my 2 words this year are rhythm and magic. Yeah. So the rhythm is, I chose rhythm over balance because I feel like balance has been a pretty big buzzword, especially within the wellness industry and even self-care too over the last few years, at least in my world. Work-life balance, blah, blah, all of that. And I think balance is good. But one of the things that really stood out to me about this last year was that I think because time changed so much, in the sense of regular life was disrupted, I started to see more of a rhythm that could happen if I was intentional. And like when I look at the year as a whole, realizing that there are up and down periods that I follow, that my body follows. So rather than focus on trying to have this balance, which feels like a daily thing, of getting into this rhythm of kind of doing and being, letting there be fluidity between them, and giving myself that permission to sometimes do a lot and sometimes do a little, depending on how that rhythm is going.
I
So
love that. I
yeah.
love that word. I love the concept. Like, wow, like it makes me want to change my words now. Dang
No,
it.
don't change your words.
Rhythm.
They're good. And then magic, because honestly, like for me, I can get into this cycle of like just focusing on what I'm doing and achieving and kind of what's next and what do I need to do. And I've been on this different spiritual journey the past few years of searching and seeking, and you know maybe stories for another day or episode. But that term magic to me just hits that heart of the beingness, and really remembering to look for those magic moments, because they are there every day, like multiple times a day, if I have the eyes and heart that are looking for them. So those are my two intentions.
Mm,
And then I have goals for like 6 areas of my life. So, I can be a
yeah.
little intense sometimes, but
Well,
that's
for
good
me,
for me.
my words kind of tie in with my goals. So, in
Mhm.
order to accomplish those goals that I have, I really have to focus on my intentions for the year. So, I kind of chose things that kind of all tie together and work together. And, self-care has a lot to do with consistency.
Mhm.
So they kind of work beautifully together, those two things.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how is it going for you so far?
Well, I feel like January has been a whirlwind. I don't know how it is almost the end of
I
January, first of
know.
all. Um, I do feel like I'm getting into a rhythm. I think there's a lot I'm still processing right now too, and so I don't have it all figured out. Surprise, surprise. I don't think we ever do. I don't know why I keep thinking one day it'll just click and I'll have life figured out.
I know, right?
Yes, then I'll be a billionaire and can share my secrets with the
Oh,
world.
I have no doubt that you will be a billionaire,
Maybe.
but that won't have everything figured out for you.
Right. No. Um, so I think it's going good. But I've just been in this place of kind of realizing that like um I have been so focused on these goals that I have for myself the past few years that honestly, I feel like I'm reaching a place where so many of them are achieved, that this next step is like, and I've really built stability in my life. And so when I look at these goals that I set for this year, um, it's really just about like I'll achieve them by being consistent with what I'm already doing. And so it's this weird feeling of like, oh, I'm kind of already there, but not yet. Um, so what does that actually mean for what do I want out of life? Because I
Well,
kind
now
of
it's the
have it
fun
already.
part because now, you have your foundation set, you have a solid, I guess the only word I can think of is foundation. And now you get to kind of play with, you know, what do I really want out of life? Where do I really want to go? Now that you have the tools in your tool belt necessary and you can accomplish anything if you really, put all of your heart and soul into it.
Mhm.
Now's the fun part,
I
you know?
know. That's what I think. Like it should be fun. So it's weird when like first of all some things aren't fun and I'm like, okay, well, do I keep doing this because it's going to
Well,
get me to where I want to be, or do I pivot? Um yeah, it's just, and also it's kind of a weird spot because with the coaching that I do, um it's focused on helping people discover their purpose. That's my favorite out of all the work that I get to do.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's weird when I feel like I'm still asking those questions of myself. Like, am I living out my purpose? Like, am I doing what I really want to be doing? And am I really fulfilled? Like, it's kind of that check because I can't lead anyone where I haven't been. Um, so I think it's good that I'm like wrestling with this, but at the same time, I don't think it's really wrestling. It's just realizing that like kind of already there.
Well, and that's where New Year's resolutions are kind of a beautiful thing because it's like this annual check-in with yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know, of where am I? Who am I? Do I have different goals than last year? Are they still the same? Do I need to keep working on them? Am I a different person now? Do I need to change my expectations maybe, or my boundaries even? I forgot where I was going with this, but I like how what you were saying was tying into kind of the topic of New Year's resolutions, that even though you feel like you've really accomplished a lot of what you've already set out to do, it's kind of a beautiful thing to be able to just sit back every year and just be like, okay, I'm here now, but where could I go? Where can
Yeah,
I still go?
exactly.
Because there's
Because like,
always somewhere to go.
right. And any like personality tests that I take, like growth is super high. So, um, I think that's where some of the restlessness comes in is it's like, okay, well, I set these goals that seemed so big a few years ago, but then I consistently worked on them. And now it's like, oh, well, I'm here. So what are my next big goals going to be?
Now
And
what? Mm-hmm.
yeah, and a few years ago, I started with my mentor. We actually start planning for the following year around October of having these conversations of the year before. And so it's really cool because, you know, to spend the last 3 months of the year like reflecting on what went well and kind of winding down, but then also amping up of, okay, what do I really want next year to be about? What do I really want to achieve? And even more than that, who do I really want to be? Especially by the end of the year, who do I want to become? It really has like set the stage to start off the next year. So 2021, just already running. Like,
Yes.
you know, I don't
And
have to
I
make a plan. Go
I
ahead.
love how you said, who do I want to be and who do I want to become? Because I feel like that has a lot to do with like how I said I like to pick intentions rather than resolutions.
Mhm.
I don't know what your thoughts on that is, but when I hear the word resolutions, I kind of think that has a negative connotation because it kind of focuses on what's wrong with you. It
Yeah.
focuses on what you don't like about yourself and what you want to change. Whereas intention to me it kind of sounds more positive, I guess. It's what can you add to your life? What I guess, yeah, still what you can change, but how you said what you can become, who you can become. It feels a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Setting an intention. It feels a little bit more introspective, a little bit deeper, and a little bit more meaningful than just a resolution.
Yeah. And, you know, you touch on, or you're starting to touch on too, I think why so many resolutions or New Year's goals start to taper off, those behaviors start to taper off between now and mid February. Because when we just set something like to do, goals that
Such
are,
as, I want to lose 50 pounds.
yeah, that's a super big goal. I mean, it's a great goal and it is very doable. Um, I've done a lot of work on goal setting, and like it's one of the big areas of focus that I had through my schooling. So I love effective goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing with that is you have to attach it to something deeper. So
Yes.
why is this important to you? And then that is what ties into what you were saying with who do I want to be and who do I want to become? So if I'm focused on being healthy and being, a beacon of health, if those are words that resonate with me, then day to day, I'm going to show up differently than if I'm focusing on losing 50 pounds.
Exactly. There's got to
There's,
be a deeper why, and I don't think that people really take time to sit down and rattle that out of their brains of what their really true deep meanings are.
Mhm,
And I think that's why I think it's only 12% of people actually follow through with their annual resolutions
mhm.
is because they don't dig deep and figure out their whys.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of, being able to answer the question of why is this important to me. Another thing, to think about, like when motivation starts to wane too, is, what being really clear on like what is this costing me to stay this way. So like, let's say you've been really good at, following through on your resolutions for the first 3 weeks, and now you're getting kind of tired of it because running kind of sucks and you don't want to do that anymore. I've been there. You have shin splints right now, or
I
you
wouldn't
pulled a
know. I don't
muscle.
run.
Yeah, I don't run anymore either. Um, Sometimes, actually, I take that back. I did go running on Saturday. But it's like you have to think, if you give this up, what is that costing you? And are you willing to be that person that gives up? I mean, sometimes that enough is like, or that alone is enough to motivate someone. Is
Yeah.
that there's this driving force of I don't want to be someone who gives up. So in the midst of that too is, that's moving away from language, but what are you moving towards? Like, what do you want instead? Um, but another thing to mitigate, if you're in that place of your motivation is starting to wane, is, how effective was the goal that you originally set? Like, do you actually have a plan to complete it? If your goal is to lose 50 pounds, like, okay, that's cool. Like, what's your plan to get there? What's your roadmap?
And is it realistic?
Yeah, that's really important too. And
And is
sometimes,
it kind to yourself? Are you going to accomplish that goal in a way that you're going to want to live it for the rest of your life? Or are you beating yourself up short term just to get to that goal as fast as you can? And maybe it doesn't last as long as you're hoping.
totally.
So let's talk about planning, how to make a legit plan for accomplishing your goals. Like what's your process of like coming up with your plan? Because obviously you're amazing at smashing your goals.
Thank you.
So what do you do?
Well, first I get clear on what is it that I want. So let's dream big. What is that light that's at the end of the tunnel? What do I want my life to look like? And I'll share one of the goals that I'm working on right now in my physical health. Um, what I have a goal of losing 15 pounds. We'll say 15. Um, and on one hand, I feel like it's kind of crazy because I don't think that I look like I need to lose 15 pounds. But
Definitely not.
thank you. But I do have a why for this goal. And, you know, Lauren and I would both do jujitsu. I've been competing since I'm still fairly new to the sport. It's a few years, but I've been competing. And I feel most comfortable competing at the medium heavy weight class. And for me to feel comfortable competing at medium heavy where I'm at right now, I'd like to lose 15 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a goal of mine. Um, do I have any competitions coming up right now? No, which is also partly why I'm focused on this goal now, is so that I can lose it slowly and work out all the kinks rather than
Mm-hmm.
getting to 6 weeks before a competition and being like, I have to lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks.
Which is what most athletes do.
Right. And I've been there too. I
Yeah.
think the most that I lost getting ready for a competition, I think I did lose like 14 pounds total. Maybe it was 11 in probably 6 to 8 weeks or something. I don't remember. I didn't feel very good when it came
Yeah,
time to
I imagine
competition day.
not.
A lot of it was water weight, and that's just not fun. Um, so anyway, that's my goal. I have a why for it. I have a reason. I know that it's realistic because I have been that weight and I've competed at that weight before. And not just that, but I've also competed at that weight like after weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like it's realistic. Um, and since I don't really have a timeline for it, because that's the next thing is when do I want to accomplish this goal by? So because the timing is loose, I'm looking at end of March or so, around March, April, I would be good with that. So one of the things that I did this year that was different was my trainer actually gave me what would it be? A 3-month calendar that I taped onto my fridge. That's a dry erase calendar. And I plan out my workouts for the week, like on that, and then I check them off. So I have a visual of, and let me back up before then. It's very specific. I have specific goals for the week. My big goal in order to lose 10 to 15 pounds is to train jiu-jitsu 3 to 4 times a week, do strength and conditioning twice a week, and cardio twice a week. That is my ideal. Now, I will tell you, I'm like 5 to 6 weeks in or whatever, and I have not hit all of those things in 1 week yet. And to me, it's okay because that's part of that. Like, I'm working out the kinks piece of it. I'm finding that rhythm of what's actually going to work for me. So that's where I'm being adjustable, but I'm super specific in what the plan is. I have this big goal and I have like, those are the stepping stones of how to get there. Like, achieving my goal is going to be the byproduct of doing those things every week and every day.
Mm-hmm.
I have nutrition mixed in there too, but I'm focusing just on the training right now. So from there, then you look at, am I measuring that? So that's what that calendar is for me. Thank you, Gracie from 50 Fitness. So that's what my calendar is all laid out, is that I can see what my workouts are for the week and if I'm actually doing them and what my rest days are. So I can measure how I'm doing in relation to those goals. For me, I'm making it adjustable based off of how my body is feeling, because that's something I'm working out right now. And like I said, it's realistic. And I do have a timetable for it because I'm focusing on it 3 months at a time. So if you're savvy and following all of those elements that I mentioned, do you spell an acronym, SMART? So you want to make sure that your goals are SMART, specific, measurable. I prefer adjustable for the A because I think that's important to adjust for real life, realistic, and time-oriented. So
It's so funny. I was writing down all of those things right here because I was going to repeat them back.
Yes. Did you notice that it's
Yay.
spelled SMART?
I never knew that it's well, I didn't write down exactly the same words, but that's pretty neat. It's pretty
Yeah.
neat.
So, so part of making the plan is making your goals SMART. And really looking at, okay, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds or 50 pounds, wherever you're at, then the reason why that timepiece is so important is because you want to put, like, let's say I give myself 6 months to lose 15 pounds. Okay, that feels very realistic, which means that in 3 months, my goal should be 7.5 pounds. So by the end of March, I should be down 7.5 pounds if I want to be on track to lose 15 by June, which I know I adjusted the time, but just for the sake of the example. So when you break it down to half, then I can say, okay, if I want to lose 7.5 pounds in 3 months, then now I just made the math difficult. I'm going to pull up my calculator here. So then that means that I only need to lose 2.5 pounds a month if I want to lose 15 pounds by June. So in that sense, I'm doing great. Like that's like half a pound to a pound a week, you know? So,
and I think it's important to set those deadlines and those timelines to your current ability and capability.
totally.
You know, don't make a goal so difficult that you don't feel confident that you can achieve it.
Yes.
That's one of my rules too, is anytime I set a goal, I kind of break it down into baby steps that feel 100% accomplishable.
Yes.
Like if I want to drink, I'm just going to do a really easy one. If I want to drink a gallon of water a day, I'll start with, okay, I'm going to drink 1 6-ounce glass of water a day. Like, yeah, duh, I can do that. Anybody can do that. So I do that for a couple of days. Okay, I got this. And then I'll increase it. Yeah, I can drink 2 glasses a day. That's easy. But you always want to make those steps feel easy and not feel like just too much burden all at once.
Yeah, and what I love about that is it comes back to both of our words, consistency and rhythm. You know, I think that that's so important because so often what I see, I've fallen prey to this as well, but I see it in also with people that I work with too, is that, you know, sometimes we get really excited straight out of the gate and it's like, oh, I'm going to set all of these big goals and I'm going to go out and do all of it this week. And then what happens? Like you get burnt out or you get injured or whatever. And like it ends up setting you back farther than if you had just been kind of like the tortoise and the hare, just slow and steady from the beginning. But the problem is that's not fun. Like it's not fun to just do the same thing every day and just drink 6 ounces of water a day. And
it's not.
But that
ahead.
consistency is what will actually push you across that finish line.
Yes.
And so it's zooming out to have that big picture of what is it that I really want? What am I willing to give in order to get there? And how can I make the rules easy to win along the way? So I'm kind of motivating myself because I'm winning so often and I'm celebrating.
Exactly. You get to check that box. I drank that water today, you know?
Yeah.
Even if that's all you did, like you're one step closer to your goal. It doesn't matter how easy it is.
Yeah, and that celebration piece is so important too. You know, we might think like, okay, whatever, it's only 6 ounces of water. Like, I'm not going to celebrate that.
I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, it's not a gallon.
I'm not doing enough.
Yeah,
well, you know
celebrate.
what? You're doing something. You're doing what you can do right now.
Yeah, and that's more than nothing. So even if it feels silly, like, celebrate.
Okay, so I have to give you a heads up. My microphone might die. It's like flashing at me.
Oh no.
So the sound might get shitty, but oh well, it happens.
Okay, we'll just roll with it.
So I feel like I have been setting my goals all wrong after listening to you.
No,
I'm just kidding. I know all of that, and I do try to incorporate all of that into my goal setting. But can I share with you guys one of my new strategies for goal setting?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So basically, I'm I get bored very easily. I get distracted very easily, and I'm horrible at following through with what I say I'm going to do. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's negative self-talk. I'm not
Ooh, good
horrible at it.
catch.
I'm not. I'm getting better at it. That's what
That
I'm
was
doing.
super good.
Got to watch those things.
I know. That was good.
Okay, so for my intentions this year, I decided to make it fun because that's like another life motto that I have. I don't do anything unless it's fun, which is kind of bullshit because life isn't always fun. Life sucks sometimes, and that's just the way it is. But I try to make it as fun as I can because that's what keeps me going. So I started this 8-week movement challenge with a group of friends. And so that's part of my consistency is I want to be more consistent with moving, working out, sweating, just getting my blood pumping. Um, and so I started this challenge and I made it so it was very easy, which is important because I want to check that box off every day. So I don't know, do you want me to just go through like the whole what the challenge is? Okay, so the challenge is you have to move 5 days out of the week minimum for 20 minutes. That's it. That's minimum. 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you're in. So there was like a $25 buy-in, and we got like 7 people, I think. So it's like $175 is the cash prize that goes to the winner. And so for every 20 minutes, you get a point. And so every day, if you do 20 minutes a day, you'll have 5 points. You know, if you work out an hour, then you get 3 points, et cetera, et cetera. So the person with the most points at the end wins the cash prize. So it's more about consistency because we also made the rule that if you do not get 5 days in, say you only get 3 or you only get 4 days, then you have to fork over another $5. So you can't just
Nice.
get all of your points in one day. Like that's
Yeah.
cheating. You can't do that. That doesn't count. You have to pay up if you do that. So like I try to come up with all these rules to make it fun. And also, I think a big key is the accountability. You know, I have that group of friends that I'm doing it with, and we're all posting our videos and our pictures in the Facebook group and talking about how many points we got. And it's been really fun so far.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's keeping me very, I don't want to say motivated because sometimes I don't feel like doing anything,
How about
but
accountable?
it makes me feel accomplished
Mm-hmm.
because normally, you know, on days I can't make it to the gym, that would be it. Like, oh wow, I can't train that day. But I can't do that anymore because I don't have $5. No, I'm just kidding. So I have to walk or I have to throw around my kettlebell or have to do some yoga or some stretching. And I've basically been waking up every day and just asking myself, what do you feel like doing today? How do you feel like moving your body today?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. And it could be hiking, it could be bike riding, it could be swimming, it could be stretching, just however my body wants to move. And I love that I gave myself that freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but also the rules along with it in order to stay with my consistency.
Right.
So that's like a new thing I'm trying out this year is making it fun and getting help with other people doing it with me. So yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm doing.
I love that. Like there's so much wrapped up into that. That's just
We could
brilliant.
do like 5 podcast episodes just on that, right?
I know. No, seriously, even from I mean, because I mentioned like in the introduction, whatever, that I'm a behavior therapist. And I like worked, I mean, not currently working as one, but have in the past. And that's all about like, how do you set up the environment to basically like get people to do what you want? That's a terrible way to explain it, but like, how do you set up the environment to help behavior change? And like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many elements within that you've incorporated into this fun challenge that you created. And I think that it's so awesome. I mean, being super clear on the rules, like having elements of reward and punishment, because people have to pay up, you know?
Yes.
So they're like losing money, which is funny. And
A lot of people are motivated by money. That's nothing wrong with it,
exactly. No,
you
there's
know?
nothing wrong with it. And what I love about it is that like you came from such a place of authenticity of saying like this, I know these things about myself. This is what I need to succeed. And so I'm going to build something that allows me to succeed. And like on top of that is also helping other people succeed as well. So it's like
Aw,
you've taken
yes.
this idea of, you know, you want to make sure that you're moving and active and making it fun. And now that's caused this ripple effect to 7 other people because you're authentic to who you are. And it's for sure causing a change in their life because they're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's super powerful. And, you know, I think a lot of times we have ideas and don't always follow through on them because we might think like, oh, well, that's probably stupid or no one's going to want to participate or who am I to do that? And to just like go through and be like, screw it, I'm doing it. You know, you are having an effect on.
Yeah, that's my brain like 90% of the time. Screw it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's how I live my
I
life.
think you say another word.
It's chaos, but you know, it works for me.
Yeah, no, it's super good. I think that's awesome. And the other thing that I really love about the way that you structured that challenge is that question that you ask yourself in the morning, because this comes back to making the rules easy to win, is how do I feel like moving today? What do I feel like doing? And giving yourself the freedom within that to go beyond a certain type of exercise or feeling boxed into having to do just one thing to get you to your goal. But you've really opened
Yes.
yourself up to giving yourself the freedom to find multiple avenues to the same end.
And I have tried so many new things since starting this. We're only on week 2. And I really didn't expect to be trying new things, but because I'm asking myself that every day, how do I want to move today? My brain is coming up with some different stuff that I've never done before. Like I downloaded this fitness app called Fit On, and they had like all these different topics of classes, and I just picked one, and it was a strength workout, and that's what I did. And
Mhm.
I've never done that before. I've never like followed along with the class on my phone before, but I had so much fun, and um, I surprised myself at how much I got accomplished. And
Yeah.
I've been doing different workouts and different things, and so I've really been loving it. It's
Yeah.
been awesome.
Well, and one of like my favorite lines that I give whenever I do a wellness presentation or yeah, any type of deal where I get to talk about physical health, I always ask, you know, what do you think is the most important type of exercise? And a whole bunch of things are thrown out, you know, the elliptical, swimming, walking, Zumba, like on and on. You know, you can name anything. And I always share that the secret, the most important type of exercise or the most effective type of exercise is just the one that you do. That's what it comes down to. Um,
100%.
you know, if it's the gym, awesome. Like go get your gym on like by yourself. I don't like going to the gym by myself. And
Me
that's just
either.
something that I've learned. Like that's not the type of exercise that I'm motivated to do.
Yeah.
And there's been different periods where I've wanted to do different things, like you said. But really, what it comes down to is what matters most is just pick the one that you're going to do. So if that's walking, then go out and walk. If
Yep.
it's running, awesome. If you don't like to run, then don't force yourself to do it. Like you were saying, figure out what you're going to have fun doing and go do that. And maybe that's like dancing in your living room or dancing with your kids or something.
Mhm.
If your heart rate's elevated, guess what? That's just the same as your heart rate being elevated on the elliptical machine.
And literally, there is so many options out there now. Like, even if you are dirt broke and don't have a single piece of equipment, like, there is free classes online that, I mean, like you said, you can dance in your living room, you can play with your kids. It's kind of like whatever ignites that fire in your heart, that movement that speaks to you, that you really enjoy doing. And that could be the same thing every day, or that could be something different every day, like where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck I like to do right now, because
Yeah.
I'm so inconsistent with my training that I'm just not moving. I'm just, instead of moving, I'm just sitting there, and I don't like that side of myself. So this is what I'm doing to kind of work on that, and I'm loving the journey so far. Like, I've never had this much fun working out and getting in shape.
Yeah. So what piece of advice would you give to someone who's listening who maybe they did set a goal for 2021 to get healthier, which I have my opinions about that goal, but let's say that's what they said. And they maybe aren't seeing the results on the scale, or they pulled a hamstring and can't get out and run anymore, or just really don't want to do it anymore. What would you
Ooh,
say?
okay. Ooh, putting me on the spot.
I know.
Well, first of all, get healthier is way too broad of a goal. So definitely narrow that down. Pick something much more specific than that. So in what way do you want to get healthier? Which could be, I could go on forever about
Me too.
possibilities. So after you've narrowed down your goal, well, since you're injured with your hamstring, maybe be very flexible with your timeline and your deadline. Maybe set a deadline that you would like to reach, but give yourself the compassion that might not happen as fast as you want because you're injured. So a little bit of self-love in there and self-compassion. Um, and then I don't know, I guess everything I've said, make it fun, and everything that you've said, make it realistic and accomplishable, and make sure you're tracking your progress. And if you're feeling like you're at that point where you just don't care anymore and you just want to give up, I feel like this is where you should come in.
Are you
Because
telling
this
them
is what
to?
I struggle with too. Like, I don't think I've completely figured that out, because that's the whole point of this challenge that I'm doing, is to try to find a method that works for me for getting past that
Mhm.
hump of that, almost like that depression of just like, oh, I can't do this, I'm never gonna change, like, why bother, all that shit talk that goes on in your brain when you just want to give up. So I don't feel like I'm very qualified to answer that part of it, so go for it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they can schedule a session with me on my website. Um,
Oh, that's the best thing I've ever done, you guys. By the way, Katie is also my coach. And in the short time that I have known her and I've been working with her, she's completely changed my life. And I don't want to start crying, so I'm just going to say that. And you're crazy to not schedule an appointment with her if you are looking to find your purpose and change your life.
oh, thank you. Thank you. You're so sweet. And like I said before, I love this work, and actually have the background to back it up. I guess I'll say
Yes.
it's not just like a book that I read, or, you know, a piece of paper I paid for
A week-long
online or something.
certification online.
Yeah. It's been a little more intense than that. Um, but yeah, I mean, realizing that we're going to hit those roadblocks, and we're going to reach those days where we don't want to get off the couch, or that we're injured and we feel like, the self-talk that we're hearing is that it's never going to get any better. And why did I even start in the first place? Because I knew that this was going to happen, so I might as well just give up now. And so if you're in that place and feeling that, just know that you're not alone. Both Lauren and I have gone through that. Pretty much everyone has gone through that. And, the biggest thing is you have to decide for yourself, is this worth it and why? And get to that deeper reason of why is this important? And that's something only you can answer. In the meantime, because you probably won't come to that conclusion soon, maybe you will, and that's great if you do. Sometimes that takes a lot of introspection to be able to know why it's important and get to that deeper reason. Um, you know, Adjusting the rules. How can I make this easy to win? What is my win going to be for today? And if that's
Maybe you're just making it too hard on yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Lauren, I love the example that you shared of you really just opened it up. I mean, you created the framework and the structure and really got super clear on defining what is success. That's super important. You have to work out for a minimum of 20 minutes, at least 5 times a week. Or is it 3?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. And then, you added in all these other things. So, ask yourself, am I making the rules hard to win? And also like coming back to what do I even enjoy? Like sometimes, I mean, we have to realize like exercise is hard and changing your nutrition can be hard. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's 100% easy, but there are ways that you can make it more enjoyable. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, then
throw some bacon on them and maybe you will.
yeah, that's one. Or like choose a different vegetable, I mean,
Yes.
there's so many things out there. Like if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then find something else
Try something
to,
new.
to get to your goal. I mean, I also think it's important to balance this with like still make sure that you are doing things that will get you to your goal.
Yes.
Because it's not just like oh, this is hard, I'm going to change directions. Because if you're constantly doing that, then you're the only one who can answer if you are still really moving forward or not. But constant pivoting isn't always a great strategy. I don't think it is a great strategy.
Not long term. Yeah.
So, there's some
But I think
balance.
it's super important to realize that there are so many different paths to take to get to the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if what you're doing now, if you're hating it, if you're dreading it, if you're feeling like you just don't want to keep doing it and it's not worth getting to that goal, then I think it's definitely worth exploring a different road.
Yeah.
I mean, don't give up on your goal if that's what you really want, but take a different path. Just try it and see.
I do try and live by kind of a rule of thumb of giving something like 4 to 6 weeks before I throw in the towel. Because if I'm learning depending on what it is, if I'm learning something new, then there's going to be a learning curve where things are uncomfortable. And if I'm constantly changing just because it's uncomfortable and I don't like it, then I'm never going to get over that hump of that learning curve. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So
we might be comfortable with changing our path so often because we're comfortable with being uncomfortable, whereas a lot of people may not have that skill of just being able to sit in discomfort and be content for a while.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also, I'll share a little bit. This is coming from the perspective when it comes to like working out, for example. So I decided it was probably in 2008. I decided I wanted to start getting healthy and exercising. And I didn't really know much about anything then. And so I remember my journey literally started with running to the end of the block. And then I walked 3 blocks to the high school, rested for a while. Then I ran stairs and like rested. And then I walked all the way home. And I did that for a bit. And then after a little while, I realized I could run 2 blocks and then blah, blah, blah. So I started out small. And as I progressed through college, I decided I wanted to run a half marathon. Worst decision of my life. Just kidding. But I don't particularly care for running. But I did it. That was a goal that I set. I didn't enjoy running, but I wanted to reach that goal. So I ran a half marathon and then swore I would never do it again because I was in so much pain afterwards. And so then the next time it was like, okay, well, what do I want to do next? It'd be cool to do a sprint triathlon. I had a friend who asked me, hey, do you want to run this with me? And I was like, I never would have done that on my own, but sure, I'll train for it. So I trained for that. I was like, do I want to do this again? Not really. I have a fear of swimming in open water, apparently, so I have no desire to do that again. So then I, over the course of a few years, like trained for a Spartan race. I have tried Zumba. I've done Pilates. I've done yoga. I did I trained for just a cycling race, like long distance, where you get like the fancy expensive bike, whatever. I tried that. Road bike, that's what it's called. What else have I done? I don't know. I did an Instagram post about it a year or two ago, but just listing all of these different things that I tried. And when I looked back, because it was when like the 10-year challenge was like popular or whatever. Do you remember that?
No.
I think it was 2019 because I posted a picture of my first half marathon that I did in 2009, which to me was like the first kind of big thing that I had trained for. And side by side with that, so my like 10-year challenge, 10 years later, I'm doing jujitsu. And the big aha moment for me was that one way to look at that is it literally took me about 10 years before I found jiu-jitsu. And
which is your love and passion now.
Yeah, which I love. And like, yes, sometimes I struggle getting to the gym, especially recently, but like it's just there. It's a part of my life. Like I want to go train. Like my friends all train. Like it is a big part of my life and I enjoy it. And I don't go necessarily like to get fit and to get strong, but that's a byproduct of what I'm doing because I love it and I miss it when I'm not there and I want to be training. And so I share that because one way to look at that journey is that it took me 10 years of trying different things to finally find jiu-jitsu. But now jiu-jitsu isn't like working out. Like I said, the workout is a byproduct of going and doing what I love. Yeah. So with that being said, in each of the things that I did, I gave it time. Like I ran a 5K, I ran a half marathon and said, okay, I've done that for a while. I don't like it. I trained and I did a sprint triathlon. Okay, actually, I don't like that. I trained and I did a Spartan race. And it's like, meh, I'm capable, but I don't really like that. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
it wasn't just showing up to one training session and being like, oh, I don't like that. I leave, like give it some time while realizing that maybe it'll take you like 10 years to find what you really love, but it's worth it.
It might.
Embrace the journey because that's where, really it's
that's like the most important thing you can remember when we're talking about New Year's resolutions. Oh my God, embrace the journey. It's like way more about the journey than it is about the result, in my opinion. Yeah. I think because the journey never ends. You may get to that goal, you may get to that end goal eventually, but then what? Are you just going to stop? Like, are you just going to, okay, I'm here. Like, you're going to make a new goal and you're going to have something new to reach for. So it's, you're always going to be on that journey. So if you are 100% focused on just the end result, in my opinion, you're doing it wrong. Like you got to be in the moment, you got to be in the journey, and you have to, for the most part, be enjoying it. You're not always going to enjoy it, but Yeah,
But so long as there's elements about it that you can enjoy.
yeah, or at least that are worth it, that, you know, that they make you keep wanting to come back to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, for me, my takeaway from our conversation really is to find what you love and go do that. And really look at, rather than setting goals and resolutions that are just about doing certain things and achieving certain things, like really take some time to look at asking yourself, who do I want to be in all of this? Who do I want to become by the end of the year? And is my life in alignment? Are the choices that I'm making in alignment with that person that I want to be on December 31st, 2021, looking ahead into the new year?
Yes. And realizing that you're always going to have bad days, and you're always going to have days where you may feel disappointed in yourself, but there's always a new day, and there's always a choice to make in the future, the next best choice. So don't give up.
Keep going. Go beyond the bowl that's in your head and smash those goals.
Oh, so much bullshit in their heads. So much.
In our heads, too. Don't just put it on the listeners.
I said our heads, didn't I?
Oh, I thought you said their heads.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking my head, to be specific, but
Oh, anyway, well, I think we will end there. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's been a great first session of Beyond the Bowl.
Yay, first episode. Thank you guys.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Williamson, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Legit Katie Williamson, or you can head on over to my website, www.katiewilliamsoncoaching.com.
And I'm Lauren Evangelho. You can follow me on Instagram at LOEV_LY. And if you want to learn more about my business, you can follow at Precision Prep Visalia on Instagram or Facebook.com/Precision Prep Visalia.
We look forward to hearing from you guys soon.